So the learning objective today is I can use adverbs and conjunctions to start my sentences. So today, building on all the work that we've done this week so far, we're going to start writing our description of Theseus, and we're going to be pretending to be Theseus going into the labyrinth and fighting the Minotaur. So what you'll need today is you'll need the sheet for today, either on a screen or printed out. And you'll also need your plan that you did yesterday, where we planned out what we were going to write in those 3 paragraphs. Now today we're just going to focus on the first 2. So we're going to write our first 2 paragraphs today, pretending to be Theseus going into that labyrinth and killing the Minotaur. And then we'll finish it off tomorrow. We're going to start by just having a quick recap of the work that we did on Tuesday about adverbs and conjunctions and how we can use those to start our sentences, because that's what I'm going to want you to do in your descriptions today. So adverbs. Hopefully you'll be confident from Tuesday's lesson that adverbs are words that describe verbs, describe what you're doing. So if you are walking slowly, the verb is walking, and the adverb is slowly, which describes what you're doing. And you'll remember on Tuesday as well, we noticed that a lot of adverbs do end with ly. Not all, but a lot do. Now, today, from the learning objective, you'll have seen that we're going to be trying to use these adverbs to start our sentences. You remember on Tuesday we talked about how the reason that we are going to be using adverbs and conjunctions to start our sentences is that it can just sound a bit boring if you always start sentences, I did this, I did that, I did that. So instead, we're really going to be focusing on using some of these adverbs, using the conjunctions we'll talk about in a minute, at the beginning of our sentences. So I've come up with a few that I thought would actually work quite well for the writing that we're going to be doing today. Now these are on the sheet as well, and I think it would be really useful to have these in front of you as you're writing and to try and get some of them into your writing. So we'll just go through them quickly. We've got words like bravely, fearfully, confidently, cautiously, nervously, quickly, fortunately, slowly. So we're going to be trying to use some of these words at the beginning of our sentences. And obviously if you can think of any more, then that's brilliant. Again, hopefully you'll remember from Tuesday's lesson about conjunctions. So conjunctions are words that join 2 parts of a sentence or 2 clauses together. Words like when, as soon as, so that, before, at last, after, because. And today, just like I was just talking about, we're going to be using these conjunctions at the beginning of the sentence. So often your conjunction would come in the middle of a sentence, joining 2 parts together, but it can come at the beginning. And that's where I'd like you to try and use some of these conjunctions today. And obviously if you can think of any other conjunctions, then that is great as well. So today, as you know, to meet our learning objective, we're going to be using adverbs and conjunctions at the start of our sentences. But there's a couple of other things I'd also like you to try and do. So we also must check our punctuation as we write. So make sure as you're going through, you're checking for your capital letters, full stops, any other punctuation that you need. Make sure also that you write in the first person. Remember, that means using I. You are pretending to be Theseus going into that labyrinth. So you're not using Theseus, you're using I. I'd also like you to try and make these descriptions exciting. This is the most exciting part of this Greek myth, when Theseus goes into the labyrinth and kills the Minotaur. So let's make them really exciting. So to help you get started, you might have noticed on the sheet for today that I've written a waggle as a good example of what a good one looks like. So I'm going to read out the waggle for paragraph 1 and 2. Let's start with paragraph 1. You'll remember from your plan today that in your first paragraph you're going to be describing yourself being thrown into the labyrinth and starting to hunt for the Minotaur. And that's all that you're going to do in your paragraph 1. As the door to the labyrinth slammed shut behind us, I took a deep breath and looked around. The other children started to scream, but I remained calm. When I looked up, I could see huge grey stone walls towering above me. Carefully, I took out the ball of thread that Ariadne had given me and tied it to the bars of the stone door. Fearfully, I started to make my way away from the sounds of children screaming and deeper into the labyrinth. The dimly lit passageways seemed never-ending. Just then, a rat darted across my path. Stifling a cry, something's like, "Oh, try not to scream," I hid in the shadows for a moment. As my breath began to slow down, I noticed some white objects on the floor. When I bent down to take a closer look, I realised that they were bones. Human bones. So, that is my paragraph 1 so far. You'll notice, if you look at the sheet, that to just show you and highlight the conjunctions and adverbs I've used to start my sentences, I've done them in bold. So you might want to pinch some of those and use those in your writing. That would be really good. You might also have noticed that on the sheet, the third page of the sheet has got some sentence starters to help you as well. So if you're finding it a bit hard to get started, like we often do in class, there are some sentence starters to help you out with that. Now, if I were you, I'd probably pause the video here and have a go writing my first paragraph whilst I've got all of that in my head. And then come back to the video and we'll read the waggle for paragraph 2. So we're now going to talk through paragraph 2. So paragraph 2, you remember from your plan yesterday, is all about where you meet and you fight the Minotaur. And so I'm going to start by reading my waggle for paragraph 2 and then we can take it from there. Suddenly, I heard a deafening roar and I realised I must be getting close. Turning a corner, I caught a glimpse of a huge horned beast and I knew my time to fight the Minotaur had come. So remember today you're really describing, using those descriptions that you planned yesterday about how you're going to describe the size of the Minotaur, what he sounds like, what it looks like. The Minotaur was more horrible than I could have imagined. It was twice the size of a man and covered with brown, spiky fur. He had sharp horns and large white teeth. Bravely, I pulled out my sharp sword and I took a step forward. Just then, the Minotaur charged forward at me with its horns down. Luckily, I managed to dodge the beast and jump on its back. Remember yesterday you planned how you were going to do your fight scene. I plunged my sword into its body and the Minotaur fell to the ground with a thud. I had defeated the Minotaur. So, again, when we're doing our paragraph 2, we're still remembering to use those adverbs and conjunctions at the start of some of our sentences. Remember when you start your paragraph 2 that you need to leave a line to show that you're starting a new paragraph. Again, if you want to read that bit of the waggle, it's on the sheet for you to read, so you can see it there. And on the third page of the sheet, again, there are some sentence starters for paragraph 2 to help you out if you're needing a little bit of help to kind of get going. Okay, so I hope you've got a nice quiet spot for your writing, and I hope that you really enjoy writing your paragraphs 1 and 2 today. Tomorrow, as you know, we'll go on to our final paragraph, our paragraph 3, about how you then get out of the labyrinth. And we will also edit our stories or our descriptions. Okay, well done everybody and enjoy your writing today.